On this episode of Hill City Happenings, we learn more about fleet services and what they provide for our city and recent awards that they won. Also, we get a sneak peek at construction on the new M.W. Thornhill statue on 5th Street. Coming up next. I'm your host, Shaquille Cook, and this is Hill City Happenings. Fleet Services keeps over 1,000 city vehicles on the streets of Lynchburg, and most recently, they were awarded with national recognition. Let's talk to Mr. Chuck Kramer and find out more information about it.
We were one of the first, not the first, but one of the first to get out there and do EVs. So we bought 7 electric vehicles for the city, worked closely with Virginia Clean Cities on that. We were also part of electric charger pilot program that we did in conjunction with Virginia Clean Cities and JMU. And then we looked into innovating our data analytics to coincide with the electric vehicles and new trends in analytics. So that's the basic reasons. If it runs, crawls, rolls, we got something to do with it, right? So we take care of everything from weed eaters to fire trucks. And there's nothing in the city that provides a service for the citizens that we're not involved with. We got dump trucks, we got the landscaping, weed eaters, lawnmowers, tractors, fires, right? Fire trucks, administration, medic units. So any service that our great departments, public works, fire, police, everybody else, anything they do, we support. It's not everything, but it's cool, right? So we work towards continuous improvement. So that was one of the things over the last few years we've changed here at Fleet, is that we don't want to just be good, we want to get to great. So we started changing our outlook. Now we all look to the same vision. We all have the same vision and goals, and we're working as a team. That's the greatest thing that we've done here in my whole time here, is that we're coming together and working as a team. So as part of that continuous improvement, we looked at practices that we're doing, we looked at how we could do better. There's nobody in this department that doesn't have a say in that, right? So everybody can come to myself, to the assistant director, to our operations supervisor and say, hey, we can do this better. And we work together, we figure out a way to do it, and we do it. So for these couple of awards that we won, like last year we applied to GFX and we got what they call an honorable mention. And we did not get an application in time for NAFA. But what we learned was that we were doing the right things. So we're looking to continuously improve and that kind of stuff. So over the year, we went through a lot of hard times. So we were down to 4 technicians out of a possible 9 and still turning wrenches for 1,200 vehicles. Or I'm sorry, 1,000 pieces of equipment. And we made it. We took over fire, which was, it could have been better. So we took that over. We didn't have the budget, we didn't have the expertise, but we learned. And the reason that I believe we got those awards is because we never stopped and because we overcame all the challenges that we overcame. We have vehicles still on order from 2 years ago. We still don't have them. Parts, routine parts that you should be able to get from, say, O'Reilly's in an hour are taking months. So we overcame a lot of challenges, and we let everybody know in the application, and we said we're not the greatest thing since sliced bread, but we're working towards it, right? And I just think that because we overcame all the challenges that we did, and because we had such a team focus, that's what put us over the edge.
Fifth Street is known as the hub for the African American community, and on August 19th, the city will pay tribute to Mr. M.W. Thornhill right here at the roundabout with the statue. Let's talk to the Fifth Street Community Development Corporation to find out more about this process.
The Fifth Street Community Development Corporation was founded in the early 2000s. And it was part of the renovation effort of Fifth Street. There's been a lot of work to bring revitalization back to what was formerly known as the Mecca or the hub of the African American community here in Lynchburg. We were discussing it at one of our recent board meetings, and we think it came about, began in the year 2015. And we were talking about ways to incorporate some historic aspects of what the community is all about and the history of Fifth Street in the African American community. T.D. Thornhill has always held a place of prominence in the African American community here in the city, and we wanted to explore ways to be able to honor his memory.
Initially, we had members of the community to meet, and we initially started with individuals who wanted to make contributions. And that started, it was a rather slow process in the beginning. Groups within the community started coming on board, churches, civic organizations, and as a group we had a goal of $70,000 initially. And it took a while. It was slow starting, but after a while, and the funds started coming in, and we did reach that goal. He was always, he was one of the primary funeral directors in the community, and I used to always watch him, and I was always enamored by his professionalism, the way he would conduct his business, and he always seemed to be one who would always have high expectations for those who worked for him and for those within the community. I used to hear stories about him. One of our past members, the late Walter Ford, would always tell the story about when he was young and misguided. He was walking down Fifth Street one day, and T.D. Thornhill kind of grabbed him by the collar and pulled him in and lectured him on his role within the community, that you can be a leader or you can be a negative force in the community. And that was a story that I heard over and over again about people who were going in the wrong direction, and he would kind of redirect them to more positive things.
Well, it really was not difficult because he was so much known in the church community. And so my aspect was to just remind the churches of what Dr. Thornhill had done, and just to receive funds for them. And that was just an aspect of it, because there was someone else who was dealing with the community and also dealing with other aspects of raising major money for the statute. But the churches certainly had an integral part in the funds. Well, as I have stated in meetings and other places, the ideal place for the statute of Thornhill is Fifth Street. I cannot see any other place in the city where it would really honor him and when it would have the type of meaning that needs to be held except Fifth Street, because Fifth Street is just a part of him. And now that it's Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, it's just where it ought to be. I have a quote here that was from their former Virginia governor, Doug Wilder, and I'll just read part of it, where in reference to T.D., he said, "Not only did he provide support and resources for others, but he offered himself in public service." Governor Wilder said, "I treasure our relationship and know his memory will not fade and be folded into the dustbin of forgetfulness. That's from Doug Wilder when T.D. Thornhill passed.
Well, that wraps up this episode. Till next time, I'm your host, Shaquille Cook, and this is Hill City Happenings.